Detective Comics issue 994, which actually has a banner at the top that says Countdown to 1000, which is cool. And it's obviously Peter J. Tomasi, Doug Mahnke on the art, and this is the start of their run.
They must really trust Tomasi to get them there, because he was on action in the lead up to 1002.
Superman, you mean?
Superman.
He was on. It was Jurgens that was on action.
That's right.
Who?
So don't disregard what I say.
Yeah.
Everything blends together now. I can't.
Yeah, because Jurgens actually ended his run in 1000 in one of the stories.
Yeah.
Which is
That's right.
which is really neat to end it, because he, obviously Bendis was starting at 1000 and he was ending at 1000.
Right. Yeah. Nice crossover.
Yeah.
But
not if you're Connor.
I love Monkey on Batman, because his art style really goes into darkness well, and I don't mean darkness like content. I mean like the shadows and everything, and I really enjoyed the look of this book.
I will say I agree for the most part. I had a few glaring problems, like the second page is this big splash page for the title credits. What's going on with his leg? Like, it just shrinks around his knee. Like, his knee is this tiny little Lego joint.
He's dislocated his knee.
As you
mid-grapple.
do.
Yeah. And it's a bit of spot of pain. That's fair. His leg looks a bit off.
Also, his chest looks insanely huge.
Well, he just got done on chest day, so
This was possibly the worst page of the book in terms of the art. I'm like looking at this going, this is ugly.
So, yeah. So the premise of this run, or this issue, kicking off this arc, is that there is a murdered couple who is found, and they look and have been murdered exactly in the same way as the Waynes. Because I actually got a little bit worried the first page when it was like redoing the Wayne's death.
Yeah, I did too. I was like, why are we doing this?
Because if there's one thing in like Batman I never need to see again, is the Wayne's murder, because we've seen it so many times.
I don't need to see Martha shot in the face again. Zack Snyder, thanks.
Yes. I don't need to see the Wayne's death anymore, but then it became kind of relevant because the idea is someone's actually copying this, and like they've set up these people with the exact wounds. They've used plastic surgery to make their faces look exactly like the Waynes. So even Gordon's like recognizing this, and right away I think they're setting a precedent that this run will be a bit more detective focused, because you've got Batman with Gordon at a crime scene, going over the details, the body, how's it left there.
Yep.
Good.
Sure.
No, that's what I want. I want detective to feel different, right? I don't want it to let's do a Batman. I want it to be detective-y.
Well, yeah, but it's notable in the sense that it's different to what Detective was before. But it's not like Detective was like Batman before. It was like, for a while, it was a team book.
Yeah, that's clearly gone. So if we're doing just a Batman book again, I want it to be detective.
I agree there. I also like that they're keeping the Mark of Zorro, like, because Nolan made it into an opera, and that made sense for the time. But just the idea that they were going to the movies, and Zorro kind of help inspire Batman. I always like that idea. So the fact that it's staying here because the bill, or the pamphlet, whatever that is, was in the pocket of the victim. So someone intimately knows, whoever set this up, the Waynes.
Yeah, so I think my only critique actually of the Batman Gordon scenes is at one point Batman almost slips up and refers to the Martha body as just like my mother. That's what he's going to say, and he corrects himself and says Martha. And
he can't help it. It's Martha. And what's he going to do?
Martha. Why did you say that name? And I get that the point here is that he's so caught up in the how personal this is that he actually kind of slips, and I get that that's the point. But part of me it feels kind of weird that he, like, and I don't want to say that Batman would never slip up because he's Batman. That's not what I'm saying. It felt weird, or it feels weird because I feel like Gordon would pick up on it and it wouldn't just go unnoticed.
Well, see, again, but that's where I feel that Gordon has figured this out.
Oh, he's just playing along. Okay,
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
So in my head, that's it. So he kind of, we don't see it here, but he gives him a look like, did he? No, okay. I'm gonna keep it secret for him still.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay.
But I do like that Gordon was the responding officer, because he makes a comment about if his memory's right, then this is how the bodies were staged.
Yeah, there was that moment where I was like, they were my first.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he wants to say that it was his first double homicide as well.
Right.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed the detective stuff. And then the second half of the book is Bruce calls Leslie Tompkins to talk about the murders, and she's attacked by a monstrous presence of some kind, mysterious new figure. And it's basically Batman's racing towards her to save her, and she's she's on the phone with him the whole time, talking about him chasing it. And this was a very horror movie like, which is kind of what I liked about it, was that she's kind of running up the stairs, she's trying to like get away. I was into that element of it, and then Batman eventually gets there, and it turns out that no, this was kind of a trap to lure Batman in.
I will say I like this half a lot less.
That's fair.
The big monster thing. I was like, oh, this is like this really grounded investigation. I thought that's where we were going, and then no, big monster, go.
It's kind of funny because it was the same kind of reaction I had at the start of the book, where the first page where the monster jumps out with the bat signal, I thought, oh, really, we're doing a monster? But then I liked kind of how it was played out for the rest of the issue, where it was him on the comms the whole time and her running up the stairs and trying to hide, and like the rest of it played out in a really fun way that made it work for me. But I agree, I had that initial kind of, oh, we're doing a monster.
It never quite got past that for me. Even though I think it's all right what it's doing, it felt like a jarring shift to me still.
Yeah.
Also, the panel where he jetpacks off the Batmobile. That's rough.
I'm going back.
The size of him, like he's sticking out in weird ways. I don't understand what's happening there.
Do you know, I was about to argue with you, saying, that looks great what you're talking about, but you mean the panel at the top?
The panel at the top where he's actually launching out.
He's got a huge torso.
He's got a gut. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. And it's just things like that I see as I'm going throughout the book that kind of just stop it being as good as it could. Like overall, I really like the art, but it's just there's enough of these panels that like feel horrifically wrong that kind of ruin it for me.
See, I think we've always differed on this, where for you a couple of panels that look a bit off kind of ruin it for you, whereas if the art generally has a look that I like, I don't really care if there's one or two mistakes.
Yeah, that's how I am, because I didn't notice it until now.
I think it depends how much. If it's bad enough that it pulls me out of the story and I'm looking at it going, oh, what's that? What's going on there? Instead of just reading it.
And see, and I figure I read differently than you, because I read first for the story. Right, and I'm reading the balloons, and then I look over the art, but I don't study the art, and I don't know if that's a good or bad.
I go where my eye leads me. So in this panel where he's blasting off the with the jetpack, I start at the top on the left at the car, and I'm moving across into the trail, and then I'm getting to Batman. So I'm seeing Batman before I get to the word balloons.
See, with me, I see the word balloons first, and then I get the big middle image. So like, I don't know.
That's just funny. I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. It depends on the panel. It depends on the page. It's all very contextual for me as to what panels stick out to me that I spend time on, and which ones just kind of like fly by, because they're just like quickly in succession of like what the movement is, kind of thing. And I think that's maybe where this falls into for me, is that this panel of him jumping out the car was almost like a filler panel, and that it's important that it needs to be there for the pace. But it doesn't stick out to me on its own as like being one that I spent time on as I was looking.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Well, it was just to say that I'm just trying to explain why it necessarily didn't stick out to my eyes. But
yeah,
now you pointed it out, I can see the big lumpy stomach.
Why I catch them, because I read it in the way that I read it. I get to that before I get to any of the words, so it kind of it really is noticeable when you read it that way.
Yeah.
Right. It's one of those once you see it, you can't unsee it type moments.
Yeah.
So.
And then once you see it, I kind of get stuck on it before I get onto the words, because I'm like, ugh.
So the reveal at the end, the twist at the end here, is that this monster breathes or sprays gas into Leslie Tompkins, and I have to give it credit. I never saw what this last page was going to be, because there's nothing about this thing that kind of relates him to the Joker. There's nothing that makes me think, oh, this is Joker related, or this is
other than the gas being green.
Sure, but even that, like, I think like Scarecrow gas is probably being green sometimes, like like.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
it's a noxious gas.
Yeah.
More often than not, it's going to be green.
Not that I even jumped to Scarecrow either. I just kind of like, that's a gas.
It's
a gas. This thing.
I'm not saying I jumped to Joker either. I just when I look back, I was like, oh yeah, it was green.
But yeah, so she gets the whole Joker face smiley toxin kind of thing going, and that's the reveal at the end. So I mean, what are the implications here? If obviously if this is connected to the bodies, then is this like Joker saying he knows who he is? And if it's not connected, then how is this Joker plot? If it even is Joker, did someone just get a hold of his gas? You know,
I'm kind of thinking that might be the case.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's very possible. Especially since I don't necessarily expect every writer to do a Joker story the first time they
Right.
No,
they
and
write an arc.
Tomasi do a Joker thing in Batman and Robin? I don't remember.
Outside of tie-ins to Death of the Family, probably not.
No, I'm going back through them. I don't think so.
Okay. No, that's cool.
Yeah. Because outside of Death in the Family, Damian really never has really dealt with Joker. So I don't think he would have had the opportunity.
No, that makes sense.
To do that. Yeah.
No, I enjoyed this issue. I thought it was a promising start. For a start, there was no plaques being read out loud for 20 lines of dialogue.
Well, and also you mentioned when it starts with the Wayne's death, you're like, oh no, not again, and then Tomasi turns it.
Yeah.
Just plays with expectations, and I appreciated that. But I also give Tomasi more leeway because I generally like what he's done at DC.
Yeah.
So
I would agree. I like the detective half more than I like the monster half, but I think the monster half actually got quite good once it got going with what it was doing. So
that's fair enough.
So we'll see how it goes. I guess we'll rate the book then. Matt, what are you giving it?
It's a 8. I liked more than I didn't like. So and the art, the way Monkey draws most of the panels, I thoroughly enjoy it. So
what are you giving it?
I'll give it a 7. I still like it for the most part.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna agree with Matt's 8. It's not like spectacular, amazable. Like this has changed my life, but it's really solid, and I'm digging what it's doing. It feels fresh, it feels different to what we've had recently, and that's nice.